Hello Karen, this is Kim. I have not vlogged for a while. I attempted to do this outside, but I ran out of space on my memory card. Rock on. So here I'm back inside, and I have read and discarded 3 books over the last couple of months, and I finished 1. So that's why I haven't vlogged in a while, because I feel like I should actually have something to talk about before I start talking. So the first one I started reading and ended up discarding about halfway through was Anna Karenina. And it, as I mentioned in I think my very first blog, is very misogynistic. Tolstoy doesn't really like women, and he stinks. Oh, he is so bad at describing things. He cannot tell you, he cannot describe a person in love. He goes on for pages and pages and pages trying to describe something when a decent writer, a halfway decent writer, could probably have done it in a page, maybe a paragraph if they're really good. So I just got irritated and stopped reading it. The next one I ended up trying to read and discarding after that one was As I Lay Dying. I say I'm going to finish it. I don't know if I really am going to finish it, because I'm really irritated. He is trying to tell, this is William Faulkner, he's trying to tell the same story from 15 different perspectives, and he isn't doing a good job. Part of the problem is that people are dumb, like, it's slow, very mentally slow. They can't seem to do much of anything right. And they have these really deep conversations that I thought were deep with my friends when I was in 7th grade. So it gets really tedious, and it keeps flipping viewpoints. So it'll have 2 pages of a viewpoint from one person, and then it'll flip and it'll have maybe 5 pages from another, and then it'll have maybe a sentence from the next. So it gets really irritating. I'm about halfway through that one as well. I might finish it. I keep telling the librarian I will. Anyway, I still have it somewhere around here. This next one I read and discarded was Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel Marquez. This book has almost no dialogue. It's really irritating to me to try to read pages and pages of narrative because it's not my thing. I much prefer to read banter between characters, even if it's not good banter. I mean, some of you who don't like the Twilight series would probably say part of the reason is because there's not exactly the best dialogue in the world, but I love it. I can devour it so much easier. And it also, the main protagonist for the first 80 pages dies. And then they switch over to, like, another protagonist who's the lover of the dead first protagonist's wife. So it's really bizarre the way it shifts and moves to this other guy, and then he just has a weird story. And I'm told that by the time you get to the end, he's almost like almost a pedophile, because he's going after like really young girls. So I decided that rather than actually attending that book club meeting, that's what this one was for, that I would just skip it. So that's what I've been reading. The only book I finished was The Wizard of Oz. I highly recommend it. The movie was great, and if you take that and you look at the book, they are so, like, it's different, but it's similar enough that you know where things are going, and it's different enough that they both stand up very well on their own. And I realize it's like for 3rd graders, but it's fantastic. I highly recommend reading it to anybody of any age. My next one that I'm going through now is The Lost Quilter, and it's number 14 in a series, which normally I really don't like jumping in the middle of the series because I don't know anything. I don't know who's doing what or whatever. And true to form, with anything you jump in 14 books into, there was a 20-page prologue that you had to read to understand, and that got really irritating, and I was like, oh, come on, I hate exposition. And so I got to about page 6, chapter 1, wherever that started, and it's good now. It's getting into the slave girl. She's like run away and she's doing some cool things. So hopefully it turns out to be a good story, because I'm not really into quilting, and the slavery aspect is pretty interesting. So for my book club next week, I will be discussing that. Hopefully I get it done in time. So that's been my reading list thus far. If you have any suggestions for things that I should be reading in the future that perhaps I would actually finish, that would be fantastic. Otherwise, yeah, just let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I will see you later.